Virtues, we understand, are desirable behaviors or behavioral traits, things that help us, according to the most prominent defender of virtue ethics, or the original defender, namely Aristotle. They're the traits that help us live well, live a good life. They lead to happiness. And associated with this is Aristotle's view, which has become known as the doctrine of the mean, or the doctrine of the golden mean. And you'll see why it's called the golden mean. That is, Aristotle's claim is that when we look at all of the things that are virtues, that is, they're the mean, kind of the arithmetic average, or the median, the midpoint between two extremes. And he uses the example of bravery or courage as a virtue. That is, we all agree that bravery is certainly a virtue for just about everyone, especially people in the military or the police force. And Aristotle would explain it in this way. He says, think about bravery and think about what are the two extremes associated with that kind of behavior. Well, one extreme would be cowardice. It is somebody who is afraid of anything, afraid to stand up for everything, runs away from confrontation regardless of what the circumstances are. And Aristotle would say, in that case, there's an extreme deficit of the virtue of bravery. That is, even times where the person, where everybody would agree that, the virtuous thing to do, the thing, if you're living properly, you should do is you should stand up for something. A coward will not do that. By contrast, think of somebody who has an excess of bravery. He or she is overconfident. It's an extreme excess. So somebody who, regardless of what the situation, walks up to people in a confrontational, threatening fashion, that might be somebody who is foolhardy. He's rash. And notice, in these cases, neither person is really exhibiting the virtue of being courageous or being brave. That is, you shouldn't fight all the time no matter what, but in certain cases where you need to stand up and help somebody else, you need to take the courage of standing up regardless of what the circumstances. And that's why we have that famous saying, the famous dictum, discretion is the better part of valor. That is, what bravery, the person who exhibits the virtue of bravery does is he uses the appropriate amount of discretion to decide when confrontation is appropriate and when it's not appropriate, not running away from a necessary confrontation or starting a confrontation when things can be solved very straightforwardly.